Two, one, and we are live. Welcome back, technically, to Dr. Ahmed bin Salman from America and also other places. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, my man. How are
Yeah,
you?
good. Still alive, which is all you want from 2020, right? And I haven't kicked in. Not caught the Rona yet. A couple of close calls, I think, but we're here.
That's funny. My whole family got COVID, so they all live in one
Mm.
house. My mom, my grandma, my dad, sister, and brother. They all got it. The only one who didn't test positive was my mom, so I haven't seen them in more than a month. I was just finally able to see them this past
Everyone's
weekend,
good.
but it's scary. Yeah,
I'm
everyone's
good.
good. Everyone tested negative right now. And okay, nobody had severe symptoms, which is great, especially my grandma and my mom. So that was good. But yeah, man. I mean, you guys are having such a wave right now.
We have possibly, during the start of this pandemic, I was thinking, well, this is going to be interesting who does well here. And obviously, you got Jacinda Ardern smashed it. New Zealand, she's like the dawn for response. And then it's like, okay, you've got Trump and we've got Boris. Who's gonna f it up the most? And it looks like we're gonna edge it. You guys have got rid of Trump. We've got Boris 3 more years, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's still here then. Oh God.
It's, dude, we had a rough four
Mm.
years. I mean, so you guys are probably just starting, but let me tell you something. When things go to a level where nobody can take, that's what democracy is all about, man. So it's going to happen. The last election was crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching with interest because, the way the world is, whatever happens over that side of the pond is going to affect everybody on every other side of all the different oceans. So it was, interesting and worrying at the same time. I didn't like either candidate, but I was like, well, which is going to be better? I don't know. But here we are, we'll see. And it looks like Trump was a nutcase, having seen last week.
It's insane, man. I mean, you guys are probably watching what's going on. I mean, the whole thing. I hate talking
Yeah.
about politics, and I'm not affiliated with any parties, but it gotta make sense. Like there's some humanitarian portion to this
Mm.
that what's your threshold? Like you just gotta like he was crazy, man. I mean, it's insane. Like I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. I can give like not a lot of f's about it, but I mean just the way it makes sense to you guys. So
Yeah. This is the thing, and it's the online issue, isn't it? Everything is a bit crazy. Everything goes to like the furthest extreme, that it can possibly go. Oh, got a comment. Thanks, Hassan. He's saying looking forward to this one. So you got a fan in the house, bro.
right on, right on. There's no celebrities in this podcast, but two people who are nerding out about dentistry and endo and obviously. So I
Yeah,
know that we have a good time when we
I
chat.
know. It's probably the last one we did where we called it steak and teeth or something. I can't remember what we called it. That
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
favorite of the Instagram live era, which I've kind of jumped off
Oh,
of. It's a good one to end on.
I, I love it. It's you gotta like people get stuck up about teeth and
Yeah.
dentistry. I mean, we're all human, we have interests outside of work, and you got to mix it up with a little bit to put a little bit of a personality behind the work that you see on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I
So
think that's what my page is about, because I very rarely post any treatment. I have given the option for guys to promote the treatment, but nobody seems to take me up on it, so that's fine. They just want their faces pasted all over the place. But yeah, no,
I know.
it's been good. How has things changed for you? I think let's get into the actual topic before they just everyone's thinking these guys are just having a chat on the phone while we watching.
Right. Tell me, what's your
Yeah,
question?
so things have changed. How has it impacted your practice? Are you seeing not different kinds of endo, but endo in cases where previously it wouldn't have occurred because of a delay in having checkups? Has there been more, TMD, stress related, false positives and stuff like that? Um,
That's right.
what's the landscape looking like where you are?
So 2020 has been
Mm,
interesting because of the whole pandemic and shutdown, right? We as ended surgeons, we really didn't close down, but we made it strictly towards emergencies. But what does that mean? That means delayed treatment, whether you like
yeah.
it or not. So, what is the patient pool that I've been seeing, or something that's a little bit different from the year before? I've seen a lot of cracked teeth. Those cases that have been postponed, that deemed hopeless, or just reached to a point where it cannot be saved anymore. So that was a little bit of a devastating shift towards the patients that I've been seeing.
Mm,
I saw a lot of cracked teeth between the month of May to August, where I'm like, oh my God, I've never pulled the plug on so many teeth in my career, you know. But that's the unfortunate consequence of delaying. That's something that's remarkable that I can think of. Another thing, and don't get this wrong. Um, Stayed home and we're not making money.
yeah.
Okay. When dentists went back to practice, a lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people were struggling financially and getting back into their rhythm and being productive. So, from an endodontist who works in a referral based, I saw a lot of increase in mishaps, meaning a lot of dentists that are regular referrals of mine who were having some criteria on what endo to attempt and what not to attempt, they were attempting more endo. And there were some more challenging cases that's probably would not their scope within they're not within their scope. So I saw a wave between August till the end of the year, an increase of perforations, broken instruments, hypochlorite accidents,
Mm,
you name it. Like a lot of people are attempting more challenging endo, and the endodontists were picking up the pieces. I'm not trying to say like we're the heroes and we're trying to save the day, because most of the times you can't save the day. And sometimes this is too far or it's too late.
yeah.
But those has been the main two things, or at least two changes in the dynamic of the patient pool that I've been seeing in 2020.
What do you think's driven that? Is it being the dentist trying to do the patient a favor, knowing that they maybe can't or would rather not pay out for a specialist because they've lost jobs and stuff like that? Or is it um, just, you've had that big break from working, you just want to try everything because you've watched all these webinars and now you think you can do, you know, zygomatic implants and closures and all this stuff?
I would like, I would like, I would like to be diplomatic and say the
Yeah.
latter that you mentioned, but I believe it's the pure fact. Want to make more money
Mm,
and just want to, okay, like I've been out of job for 3 months and now I'm like my schedule is super like slow. I think that's the major reason. And people are attempting stuff that they shouldn't be attempting. And those are the same referrals that used to refer everything. Now they're referring more mishaps. So that kind of change of dynamic just make me reach that conclusion. And I'm not trying to badmouth everybody. I know everybody's trying to do their
yeah.
best, but it's just the fact from my clinical experience, that I've been seeing this a lot, and you can see it on my page. Like if you look at the post that I have from August all the way to the end
I'm
of
gonna
the
have to go
year,
back now. I
there's
wasn't looking specifically out for that, so I'm gonna scroll back, see what's happened.
I think I even posted one where there was like a sideway perforation where they're trying to locate a mesiobuccal canal, and it's all the way like it's in the bone. Like there's, I don't know what kind of instrument was that, but like there was like a track of drilling in the bone of a perforation, and I'm like, that's when I said something about the post in my caption. I usually don't try to badmouth anybody, but I was like, have anybody noticed an increase in mishaps in the past couple of months? Because
Yeah.
I have. And I have not posted everything, Jabber. Like I've posted selected things because some of them I just feel like it's gonna come off the wrong
Yeah.
way. And I don't want it to come, you know what I'm saying? But yeah,
I think I think it's been a weird time. I think some people have maybe struggled to work out how to practice in this changed era. I think a lot of people are doing what's, more quadrant dentistry, and I think that's brilliant. So everything in that quadrant, if you're struggling for um scheduling, and you've got to wait. So in the UK we have something called fallow time. Do you have that in the States?
no, what is that?
After a patient leaves, they start turning on the air scrubbers, and depending on what methods you're using, you either have to leave the room empty for an hour, or all the way down to
Oh,
10 minutes to allow the aerosol to settle, depending on whether you have uh, certain
so
instruments.
that's a that's a little bit irrelevant to
Yeah.
endo, as you know, because the aerosol we generate is mainly in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the appointment of an 1 hour appointment. So by the time I'm done, there's no aerosol has been
Mm,
generated for the past 30 to 40 minutes. So that makes my turnover a little bit more forgiving.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that so maybe in general practice, people are trying to work out, okay, how can I get best bang for the buck, or whatever it might be, um, and keep the books as full as possible. And an appointment, like you say, not a lot of aerosol maybe, and it's a bit of a longer appointment. The ROI is pretty good. Not a lot of extra instruments required. You maybe got a $10 file or something, depending on what file system you're using. Um, that's maybe a really good, financially looks pretty nice option, as opposed to all these
I
other
agree.
things. Tons and tons of, I don't know, other things are probably worse off. If you're doing perio, there's going to be loads of there's going to be
Overlap.
clouds. There's going to be clouds around you. So maybe that's part of it.
I agree. I, I'm not gonna lie. Endo is a pretty good lucrative field, and it's a good practice builder, even for general
Mm,
practitioners. And when I give my talks and give my lectures, I encourage dentists to include endo into their
repertoire. Yeah.
practice. It's a good practice builder. You gotta be able to handle emergencies, to have a good relationship with your patient. Not a lot of patients can wait another 2 days or 3 days to just seek emergency treatment. And I encourage all the dentists, you're not taking away anything from my plate. Believe me, like there's plenty of endodontists, plenty of dentists. You're always going to be busy, you know? It's just what's doing right by the patient. So, yes, endo is a good, lucrative, like you said, ROI into your practice because your overhead is low and your treatment price is high, and it's a win win. But like everything in dentistry, you gotta know your
Yeah.
limits,
Yeah.
like I by no means are trying to advocate you shouldn't be doing endo as a general dentist or not. It's absolutely the opposite. I mean, I'm encouraging dentists to do endo, but just know your limitation. Like, don't go in there and cowboy everything.
Mm,
If you can get this predictably, by all means, 100% I'm behind
yeah.
that.
Just don't
you
do
know
the 90-degree
so
curves where you're trying to send the file back up at yourself, and well, that's 180 degrees, isn't it, actually? But do the stuff that's going to be simple, and then send all the crazy looking stuff to the guys who only do that stuff. So, uh,
and even sweat on that, man. I mean, that's not easy at all.
how curves is one thing. I had one case I'll show you later, and it was literally heartbreaking for me because I'd gone all the way through to the check X-ray, and it's looking nice, and I've got round a little bit, not a massive curve, nothing like the stuff you see on your page, and Kreeners and Brett's and stuff like that. But it was a gentle curve, and the biggest one I'd done so far. Got it out. I was like, brilliant, it's perfect. It's up to the end. Um, put it back in, put the sealer in, all that. Bang, in we go. And then the final X-ray. It's short 2 mils.
What happened?
It bent. The tip bent when I went in. So, and obviously because
Do you
I
want
was down to the same spot. I was like, okay, we're good, we're fine.
to?
But you can't. Yeah, I was like, oh, I could not believe it. Heartbreaking. 1 year later.
Let me tell you, here's the tip for you. So here's what I do in every cone fit. When I not cone fit, but when I place my cone
Mm,
with a sealer, okay? Because gutta percha is very
yeah.
flexible, right? So when you your cone, if you put a little bit of that mark that you have where it should go to your reference point, it will go because you can bend it. Exactly what
Yeah.
you're talking about. So what I reach the length where that mark is, it's reaching there. I take the whole cone out and I look at it. Has it been crinkly or bent, or has it been straight still?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I back in and I know that it's not crinkly. Because sometimes it happens and you take an x-ray, I was like, what happened? It's short. And so just double check it once you insert it with sealer, make sure you have a nice path and there's no debris
Yeah,
blocking
I
you.
had a really good tip from
Just
someone. I can't remember who told me this, but after you've done your check X-ray and you're taking it back out, you're now putting the sealer on. He goes, well, actually, what you can do is endo ice it, just thicken it up. To
yeah,
cool it down. You can get some of the warmth away, and then they can reinsert it, and it's got a bit more strength behind it, so it's less likely to fold on itself.
it becomes a stiff, which is exactly
Yeah,
so it doesn't crumble, crinkle on you.
yeah. That's my
Yeah.
sad story out of the way for the day. Apart from the other sad story, which I don't know if anyone saw on my actual page, uh, I sat in my chair and it broke. I'm that guy.
Well, you're earlier. You've been bulking up, man.
I've
You're just like
not that
two
much.
right now.
Not enough that
You're breaking
metal
chairs.
will snap on itself.
Maybe that has to go
Yeah.
better.
Dear. So yeah, we were going to talk a little bit more about your practice, how it's changed. We've heard that there's been more cracks. Is that down to maybe treatment being left, do you think, or was it TMD as well? Because I think a lot of people have been clenching up, and I definitely feel a little tense in myself. Um,
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of both, honestly. I mean, I've mainly seen cracked teeth that just baffles me. That I'm like, wow, this is like no restoration, no caries, ending factors to make this tooth crack all the way to the root. It's just mainly heavy occlusion,
mm,
and people are clenching, people are grinding. I mean, you see that. Whether the year has been stressful enough to make people more, they're more stressed. I mean, that can be a factor for sure. But I want to say a lot of people just honestly been on my chair in the past few months, and they were like, I know I needed something done about 6, 8 months ago. I was just too scared to go to the dentist. I've not been socializing. I've been staying home for so many various factors, and it's legit. But we're seeing it, and we're seeing the backlash of it, and it is what it is, honestly. But cracks are very unpredictable. And I say that all the time. You can see the most minor crack will go south and split the tooth within 6 months. And you see this major crack that will just hold off after treatment for like a good 5, 6 years. It all dependent on the patient's
yeah.
occlusion. So you can't predict those.
Is there any way, do you think, of predicting which one's going to go?
Yeah, I can tell you for sure. Um, there has been studies in my own clinical experience, and I know. Do you know Viraj Vora on
Is he Viraj
Instagram?
Endo?
Um,
Yeah.
that's right. So I had a conversation with him, and he was like, "You can't always use the phrase, oh, we're going to the patient. As a clinician, you should be able to predict what's going to last long and what's going to go south fast,
Mm,
which is a legit argument. But in my own own cases where you have the factors that are in your favor, which I'm going to be talking about later, and you do everything right, they still fail within 6 months. And when all the factors that are telling you should extract this tooth, and the tooth is lasting in the patient's mouth for 2 to 3 years. So I don't know what to believe as a clinician. So yes, me and Viraj, we always banter about this all the time. And I agree, you should be an intelligent person that should guide your patient's treatment. And I'm with you on that. But cracks are so
yeah.
unpredictable. And it's all dependent on which level they're at when they reach your chair. So here are the factors that deemed very, very poor prognosis. If the crack under the microscope is extending beyond the orifice level, if you have a deep isolated probing of 5 and more millimeter, if you have a bone loss that you can see on the X-ray or CBCT that's already deteriorating around where the crack is, and if it's usually a terminal tooth, meaning it's the
Yeah.
last molar. Those are all factors that this tooth is not going to have a good prognosis. Okay. Now, if you don't have the deep probing, you don't have the breakdown of the bone, and then you see the crack is extending to the pulp chamber, but not beyond the orifice level, those are good signs that you should maybe attempt an endo and a good bonded restoration and a full coverage crown or a cuspal coverage at some point. Those are the teeth that you should attempt to save. But this is what we've been taught. This is what the literature has been showing. But like I said, I've seen very forgiving cracks go south fast and more major ones that last for a long time. It's dependent on the patient's occlusion.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Have you seen this thing? Well, Itero, the new thing they've got in the 5D, where it maps the heavy spots of occlusion. Do you believe in anything like that? Do you think that's just a bit of BS science, or is it real?
About iToro scanners.
Yeah, so obviously it's very good for your Invisalign and mapping where things have gone, but they've also added this like it's like a hot zone or a red zone on the map on the occlusal map, saying okay maybe there's higher pressure in certain areas.
I mean, I honestly I'm not familiar with it like to
Mm,
that extent. I know it's an option, it's available. And guess what, man? I mean, yes, I probably do believe in it, you know. Probably a more experienced person with this specific tool would give you their opinion, but I believe it, man. I mean, why not? If you're and the patient is biting down while you're scanning it, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to give you a different reading where it should be beneficial to you to guide those things.
mm.
Um, I haven't played around with it a lot, so I wouldn't be talked to. I don't know. I love technology. think I think they're making our job easier. I think they're making our job more
Oh
efficient
yeah,
and
definitely.
predictable. So yeah, I would be all up for that. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
it's just interesting because you look at it and go, well, how accurate is it? Just it's predicting where the areas of a restoration might be that it's gonna you know have a lot of occlusal loading and stuff like that. It's just like okay, well, there must be something behind this. So I want to know more. So I'm asking around when I have someone who might know something. Um, but yeah,
Since we're talking about craft, Robert, I want to mention one thing. And speaking of Viraj, I mean, I think I started changing that because of Viraj showed me on Instagram. When you have a cracked tooth, how is the crack going to propagate down the roots? It's from forces from
yeah,
occlusion, right? So in those, I started doing this in the past year. So we used to always say, do the endo. I used to do the resin bonded buildup right away, and I send them to get a full coverage crown immediately. Sometimes that doesn't happen right away.
mm,
So what I started doing, I shoo off the cusps. I take them out like 2 millimeters, the whole and I do a bonded resin overlay on top of the tooth. So now the tooth is getting hit on plastic versus getting hit on the enamel or dentin. That will prevent the crack from propagating fast. So every cracked case that I have, I'd always do a resin overlay before I send them back for a cuspal coverage. So that's something that I just wanted to mention.
yeah, interesting. Because there's a few clinicians and endos now who are doing same day milling. Soon as same
Yep.
day, it goes on. Seven doesn't need to look beautiful, it doesn't have to have stain and stuff like that. And some of these milling machines are pretty nifty and quick nowadays. So you can have the patient wait in the room, and they don't have to take another day off work. So that's maybe a tick in the box there as well. So that would be a plus point of doing something like that on top of convenience.
Absolutely. 100%. I have a lot of cases that after they see me, they're seeing their general dentist within 2 hours or 3 hours to get that
Mm.
crown going, and I'm all up for it, but sometimes they can't, and I think that's a good service to do the overlay until they get to see their dentist. So
Yeah, I think it's definitely a good way forward. Um, One of the other things we wanted to talk about today, and this is probably going to be a bit more broad, was career planning and motivation. because you're a motivated guy. You've been all over the shop to get your career to the place it is now, and you're obviously very comfortable where you are now. You know, taking on big cases, difficult endos, stuff like that. How did you? What did you think about yourself? If you can think all the way back to just coming out of dental school, did you have
Mhm.
a plan going in? Did you have um, a number of different ideas, or did it just fall in its way? How did it all come about?
Um, that's a good question. I love seeing those episodes like the one we're doing, and I see people's stories and backgrounds. I was like, wow, went to dental school with the end goal of X,
Mm,
and they knew that they wanted to do this from the get go. I didn't. Let me tell you, I did not. I wanted to go to healthcare. I just didn't know what I want to do. Do I want to be a pharmacist? Do I want to be an MD? Do I want to be a dentist? I have no idea. I wanted to go to healthcare, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do.
mm,
I went to dentistry mainly because I want to work with my hands. I don't want to be sitting behind the desk and prescribe something. So, and the other thing, I didn't want to do the long years of becoming a doctor because I know there's residency, fellowship, whatever. And that was back in Baghdad, Iraq, right? When I first went to dental school, that was where
yeah.
I grew up. And not knowing that Iraq is a major war where we had to leave the country, and I had to go to Egypt, I had to go to the United States and redo everything again and specialize. I mean, all these things were not in my mind. I didn't know this. It just happened to be part of my journey. Um, I love dentistry. I've always enjoyed it. I thought it was a good career,
Yeah.
but deciding what I wanted to do, what I'm doing today, came along the way. I practiced general dentistry for a while, which I highly encourage before you actually go ahead and try to specialize or try to do something. So do that first. See what you like and what you don't like. That's the reason behind that. Because when you decide you want to do something and one thing and do it for the rest of your life, you
Yeah.
better like. You don't, you're stuck. You're stuck with something that you hate.
Yeah.
So I realized after practicing general dentistry that there are only two things that really excites me, and those are surgeries and endos. And mainly, I like the unpredictable lifestyle. I like the challenge. I like something that keeps me off my feet, and that's why I thought endo is a good combination of both surgery and endo, which is fascinating to me. I like the gadgets and tools that comes every
Oh,
year.
yeah.
That was pretty much, yeah, it's very intriguing to me, and I love it. Like I love to have like a 3D imaging introduced, and wireless Bluetooth apex locators and dynamic navigation and gentle wave irrigation procedure. All these things really, and it got to be something that you like. It got to be something that you really enjoy and passionate about because patients see it through
Mm,
you. And when patients are passionate about something, they trust you more. You're enjoying your job and for it.
yeah.
So I think knowing what you like is key because there's a lot of cool things in dentistry. You just got to know what you like. Um, so speaking of like, oh, did you know or you didn't know? I didn't know. I just figured it out on my way, and I would do it all over again. I think endo is a good lifestyle. I see less patients. I work with a microscope every day, so my back's saved, my neck is saved. I feel better physically. It's a rewarding specialty where you can instantly get patients out of pain. I've seen that multiple times where patients were like literally just giving me a hug or crying that they're instantly out of pain as soon as you numb them or as soon as you're done with the
Yeah,
procedure.
that's great.
I think that's a reward. That is really great and rewarding. I think it's part of the game. And I don't know, you play detective when you're an endodontist because there's a diagnosis dilemma or referred pain or masked pain, and you get to figure out what's the source and you take care of it. Besides the cool anatomy and all those, I think it's good. It's a very challenging specialty. So if you don't like it, get out. Get out, don't do it. I mean, if you gotta like it because it's tough. It's technically very challenging.
Mm,
So with the extra training, with the practice, you're gonna get it. That's for sure. but your heart has to be into it. So, I mean, that's my 2 cents about it, as we
Yeah, I
go.
mean,
So,
well enough that I'm of the same kind of mindset when it comes to endo. But it's interesting you say that you didn't have a plan, because I went into dental school and going, yeah, I'm gonna do max wax, and then that's not happened, not at all.
yeah.
In fact, I hate taking teeth out now, so I'm completely nowhere near that. So it is very interesting about how your plans maybe don't fall where you maybe think when you start. And yeah, it is crazy. There's guys who know from day one and don't deviate from the plan, the master plan, as it was.
And let me tell you something, and that's mainly specific to endo. This is why I encourage people to go ahead and practice dentistry for a few
Yeah.
years. Why? Because I get complaints from dentists saying that, oh, I sent it to X endodontist or this endodontist in the neighborhood, in town. They send me the case back because they want me to take the crown and the caries off and put them in temporaries and send them back to the endodontist. As a dentist and an endodontist, you should be able to do that yourself. You can save your patient a trip. You got to be comfortable restoratively. You got to be able to take on very deep caries. You got to be able to do regular gingivectomies. You got to be able to surgical procedures as an
Mm.
endodontist. So that's why I think having this general practice experience before you become a specialist make you different from other endodontists who are not comfortable doing those things. Because if you're straight out of school, you're not comfortable with those aside from endo procedures to make the flow predictable. So I think it will distinguish you as an endodontist to have more experience in those realms. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's different in the States, very different, because it's very common for people to go straight in to a residency after dental school. Whereas I think in the UK,
That's right.
it's a much more different landscape, and maybe across the world, it's varying degrees of how things have done. Um, we tend to do a couple of years before we can afford to do anything else. So, um,
That's the way it should be done,
yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you don't do enough in dental school to understand what you like. I think that's really key. Unless you're very, very lucky, and something just clicks with you every time you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think that's kind of the way. And you're also quite like a motivated guy. You post not every case as we heard, but a huge number of the cases that you do. I'm seeing multiple posts a day from yourself. How are you keeping this motivation up? Do you think the social media aspect has kind of made you up your game in a way? In that weird way, is like, if I wasn't posting it, I wouldn't, you know, there's something intangible there. Not that you're already doing your best, not already doing your best, but seeing other people's work makes you kind of inspired to do a bit more and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. I always call I wouldn't say social media because I'm a little bit biased. I want to say
Yeah.
Instagram is my second residency. The only reason I'm saying that because I used to be active on Facebook and then it was a very unhealthy community,
Is it Style
at
Italiano
least for me.
Endodontics? Is it that one?
Not only that, and some other
Yeah.
platforms without naming names. I just feel like people there were fighting versus trying to make each other
Yeah.
better and trying to have a productive conversation. I felt on Instagram it was a little bit more open-minded people. People are perceiving different ideas and learn from them. That's the whole concept of it. Yes, I definitely upped my because of other people's work. 100%. Okay. When I first started Instagram, I was just a resident,
Yeah.
man. I mean, I didn't know what I was just simply showing my work. Till this day, I have no background agenda. And I'm not saying that this is not okay. You should definitely do whatever you want to get out of social media. I do not try to promote posts or only post things that are going to get me likes or followers. I post what's interesting in my day every day. Okay. About sharing my day and sharing what's interesting to me. If that adds value to the audience,
Yeah.
fantastic. That's all. I think I created a valuable relationship with a lot of my audience simply by sharing cases. I'm not even trying to impress anybody. I'm simply trying to share something. Some people think it's phenomenal. I appreciate the feedback. Some people think that it's adding value to their practice. Excellent. That's the whole point. I'm not getting paid from Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm getting
nobody
paid
gets
from.
paid from Instagram. No, I don't know where this myth has come from.
I, my friend, his name is Brian Bollywas. He's on Instagram nerd. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
sure if
think I follow
you
him as
follow.
well.
He posted something that really resonated with me. He's like to be called an influencer in the dental world.
Mm,
I want to be called a back to and kind of reflect on. Um, I think that's my idea. That's my thinking idea. Like for me, knowing Jabber and knowing you and created this
yeah,
friendship, that's more valuable than any followers or likes or whatever monetizing you get from Instagram. I think this communicate created is far more valuable.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if you go to my page, absolute free platform. I post some videos and cases that people are probably selling in CEs, and you got to pay money to go and attend a 3-day
Yeah.
course. I'm not really like, I don't care if a general dentist is going to learn something from my platform and is going to refer less endo. I think there's so much business
No,
out there that you're not taking anyway.
how many cases are you gonna do in a day? Like, how many are you gonna really do in a day, and how many more can you take on without having your books full up for weeks and weeks at a time, and then that becomes difficult because you can't fit in an emergency. So there's an ecosystem. The less, the more people learn, the easier your life becomes because you get things which are not more predictable, but maybe more challenging, and you need a bit more time with, as opposed to fighting the fires.
And it's fine, man. And I think through Instagram, the one thing that just like as a financial aspect of it, I gain more referrals mainly because of
Mm.
Instagram. They want to send you cases, they test you out, they want to see the quality that you're going to get back, and if they're happy, they're going to constantly refer. And I've gained that strictly through social media, which is fine. But I appreciate that why those people are referring to me is because they agree with my dental philosophy. They think this is best for the patient, and that's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
How early did that happen? That you started getting referrals from other clinicians?
2020. So I started Instagram 2018,
Mm.
I think, and I think by 2020, I had. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the exact number on top of my at least 5 to 8 referrals that are constant. When I say constant referrals, meaning 3 to 5 cases a week.
Cool. And when was the
Um,
first ever referral you got from Instagram?
19.
So it's gone
That's
quite fast then, isn't it?
it is. Well, I did go back to Denver and started practicing. As soon as I got back, people are like, "Oh, you're back. We're going to start referring you
Mm.
cases." It wasn't that constant. It was here and there. But now I think it's a little bit more systematic.
Yeah, and your reach is probably a little higher, and as time goes on, as is normal. So yeah, it's good, and yeah, it's interesting. I think this whole thing about getting paid from Instagram. I think the most valuable interactions, like you say, have been the ones where I'm now friends with someone. And in any case, I have like the Patreon group and stuff like that. Only the people that I actually speak to have even bothered to sign up. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not like, oh yeah, you just do it and then loads of people just throwing money at you. It just doesn't happen like that. Um,
No,
and it's not how you
it's
want it
not.
to either.
And honestly, Jabber, I mean, like I said, like the reason I value this communication more is because you add value to me. Maybe I do a little bit, and that's how we all grow as clinicians. A lot of people get stuck up in the metrics, um, and I know of some very known accounts that have reached out to me, and they're like, "How do you do it?" how do you get more followers and likes? I'm like, if this is your end game, you're already
Yeah.
failing. Like this shouldn't be your end game. You shouldn't be worried about metrics. I follow some phenomenal accounts that they don't have a lot of likes. That's not the point. They're adding value to things, and I think this is what we should be all about, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and what I like is, do you know Ben Kim?
Thank him.
Knee Dental. He started off pretty recently. He does all the
Yeah,
reels.
I heard about him through you. I actually tuned into your live on
Yeah.
YouTube, and I was giving him shout out in the comments. He's a
Yeah,
good
but
guy.
this is the kind of interaction I wanted. I saw someone who's just doing some hilarious stuff, and he sent me a reel, and I posted it, and it was great. I was like, I've got to speak to this guy, see what he's really about. And we spoke for like 2 hours
Yeah,
or something. It was like, oh crap, where did the time go? And then he's a really good guy, and that's the thing. He wasn't a big Instagram whatever at that point. He's done incredibly well now, hasn't he? 10K. Yeah. 11K.
he's like loving. Yeah, I mean, the guy when I first I remember when you first introduced him, it was like what something like 2,000 followers, less than 2,000 followers, and he's just doing some original
Mm.
content that people like, and I think it's
And it's
amazing.
him. It's not like forced or tried on or anything like that. It's just that's who he is. Um, that's
That's what
yeah. So you're right. We want to get people like that, and then it's nice to see when someone's just being who they are, and then it goes well for them. And hopefully, there's going to be a few more like that. So, like you say, if there's guys out there who've got great content, then those are the ones you want to lift up in a way.
Absolutely. And every now and then I do this on my story where I just shout out to a few
Yeah.
accounts. And if you look at those accounts that are not glamorous, but I think they're consistent and it should be heard and seen by other people
Yeah.
because they do add value to you. And I think that's what should be promoted, honestly.
Yeah, and hopefully that's a little bit of what my account does, and it's part of the reason why we're doing it. So let's hope it goes well. Um, should we go off topic now?
I'm
Should we go a
down,
little off
man.
topic?
It's Sunday
Yeah,
afternoon.
you're chilling. You've got
Let's
another one.
go.
What time's your next engagement?
Oh no. I'm gonna do a story takeover on an account, just to show what a life of an endodontist is like and why do you become an endodontist and stuff like that. So it's not really time
Okay.
related. So I can do it
Life of an
next time.
endodontist. It's you by the pool having steaks, watching
It's that
football.
glamorous life. No,
How are Real Madrid doing this year?
it's for. Don't even remind me, man. I just watched the game. Yes, because I don't know where we're going this season.
Yeah.
Honestly, we wasted all this money on Hazard, which is such a waste of a deal. We paid all euros for this guy, okay, and he's either injured, fat, or not performing.
Yeah.
I mean, you pick your point, and that's since Cristiano left, it's been different. Sure, we won the league one time last year, and then that's it. But it's been frustrating coming from a decade of dominance in the European soccer, and then after that you just go to this 2 years of basically downhill. So you see behind me are some Real Madrid historical goals that are sketched and framed in my own apartment. So I am very hardcore about Real Madrid, but we're not having the best
No.
season. Manchester's not doing bad.
We're a mixed bag. We're a very mixed bag, aren't we? Some days we're just unplayable, and then other days it's like, have these guys ever played together before? And then 5 minutes later you've scored 3 goals. You're like, okay, what is going on here? So I think we're a young team. I think that's really what it is. It's a young team, and it's kids who, as soon as they get a bit of confidence, everything looks brilliant, and as soon as they lose a bit of confidence, then they look terrible. So hopefully they'll just mature and things will become less crazy.
I hope so, man. There's plenty of exciting talent in the roster.
Oh yeah.
at least in Man U. I mean, I mean Rashford and Bruno and all these guys. I mean, they're exciting to watch. I'm not sure about your manager how long he's gonna last, but
I like him. I've been fully behind him since this is probably the first 8 games. After the first 8 games, I was like, okay, he's got something. I don't know how long it will take to get there, but he's got something.
Ole is a fan's favorite when he was a player, so it's very hard to kind of like discount him from the equation, at least from the fans' perspective.
Yeah, the guys who go to the game, yes, but don't forget when he was at the top of his game. It's it's 20 years ago now. He's scoring the last minute goals. It's 2005 he retired. So a lot of the people on social media are 12-year-olds, and they're the ones with the 100K accounts. These 12-year-olds who are pushing the agendas here and there.
They don't even know who Ole Gunnar
They're just like,
Solskjaer is.
who's this Norwegian guy who's like he makes weird jokes in press conferences?
That's a good point. That's a really good
And
point.
so they don't really know a lot about him or the history. They don't know that the year that Ronaldo went from scoring 12 goals to 42, he was the attacking coach. They don't know all these things that he was like, he's done in his career. So you're just thinking, well, it's hard to argue against these guys because they have their opinion. They've done it on a YouTube video, and they're not going to change their minds because that looks bad. So, what can you do?
Have you seen this guy? Have you seen this guy? His name is Gunna, and he's the guy. He's like huge on TikTok, and he's basically teaching players how to do celebrations.
No, I've not seen him. Okay, let me have a look.
This guy is hilarious. He's like teaching like Madison from Leicester City how to, and the players are actually doing the celebrations on live games. It's absolutely hilarious. Like Mason Mount, he was on it, and Madison from Leicester City was on it. And this guy is basically like, you score a goal, you do the celebration, and they actually do it. It's absolutely insane.
I know there was is this why the guy did the take the L celebration against Leeds?
Yeah, and he actually taught the guy from Juventus. I forgot his name. Dude, he's doing so many players. You should go follow.
I'm gonna check
He's
that out.
hilarious.
You're gonna have to send me that because that sounds it sounds down my street, up my street even.
Football. I mean, that you're gonna love that.
Yeah. What's your thoughts about Zidane? Give me the lowdown. Is he all that, or is he did he get lucky?
I don't care. No, he's not lucky. He's a genius. He's a legend in the club, and he's a legend as a dude. The players love him. Like the amount of respect they have for this guy, and that's all you need. Because if you don't like that's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Like you gotta, like, they call him Mister all the time. He's like on another level of respect for the players. They look up to him. I think tactically, he's a genius guy. I don't care if he goes like for 2 years without winning a trophy. I'm still going to be behind him.
Yeah.
I think he's great. He brings different energy to the players. The locker room is different with him. He can relate to the players because he's a recently retired one. So I think that adds a huge difference. He doesn't have a lot of ego. So I love Zidane.
You're saying all the same things that people like Ole say about him. It's very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, there are going to be two fans, like you said, the younger ones and the players who have watched Zidane and Ole when they were players. Two spectrum of that.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said. I read that book Soccernomics pretty recently. I don't know if you've picked it up yet. Very similar to Billy Bean, in the NFL. They went into all the numbers behind all football clubs and worked out, okay, well, what really matters. And they went down to it's like one of these French teams won like 9 leagues in a row, but they changed the manager every couple of years. So did they get their best manager in the league, 4 times in a row, or were they just amazing because they've got good players? And that was the things, like they're trying to expose, actually manager doesn't really mean a lot. He's just the guy that motivates or sets up the team, and then the players, if they're good enough, will win.
To some extent, I believe that's true, but I believe you got to create a culture
Yeah,
in the locker room, and I don't care if you have the best player in the roster. You're gonna do something amazing, but you got to create this like proper culture, and everybody's behind everybody, and everybody believes in the manager and their choices, and you will excel. I think that's far more important than having superstar players. And you've seen it fail at Real Madrid in the
yeah,
2000s. You know, we changed so many managers, and we had Ronaldo, Zidane, Beckham, all these people. We didn't win as many trophies as when the next Galacticos happened. Yes, we had
yeah.
great players, but we also had a legit set of managerial team. That's a huge difference, and I think it's far more
Do you
important.
know what makes me laugh is you had Claude Makelele, and you sold him and replaced him with Thomas Gravison. I've never seen anything make less sense.
That's like, I call those the dark days. Those dark days in my team's
Yeah,
history. Yes, we had some players, man. We got Woodgate. Do you
yeah.
remember Woodgate? A disaster. That was that was a disaster period of
It's
time.
those two lead centre halves, wasn't it? We got Rio and you
That,
got Woodgate, and one went
that's
up
why I
and one went down.
was like, why did we like? You shouldn't get Woodgate.
Yeah, football's a crazy game, but I think recruitment is key, and whether that's the manager's going to make as much difference as the left back. If they're doing the job well, then the rest, it comes down to whether you've got good enough players. Um, but yeah, I could argue about that all day. Well, we're not really arguing either. I think we're in agreement.
I, I believe so. We've been watching the game for a while.
Yeah, we're all. I feel old. I don't know about this. I'm getting to the point this year I start to feel a little old.
I always feel old. I have some patients walk into my office, and they were like, "So this is going to be the first procedure you're going to be doing in life." I was like, "That's a very nice compliment, but I'm not that young."
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate you telling me I do look young, but I feel young. I've been I've been through the bushes so many times. Um, but um, but yeah, I don't feel young. I'm with you, old man.
Yeah.
I'm just
What got me was, there's some first year dental students send me a picture. I'm just like, you're a child. And I'm 10 years older at least than you now.
yeah, I know. I have some residents come and shadow me at the office, and they're just like trying to see what the flow is like and all of that. And I welcome that. I don't have a
Yeah.
problem with it. And then they're telling me, it's like, man, I don't have enough time to like start my career. It's like, how old are you? I did dental school twice. What are you? They're like 27 or 26
Mm.
or like 28. Like, dude, you have like so much time in front of you. People get caught up. I was like, oh, I'm getting older. I was like, no, you're not.
Again, this is the bad side of social media, isn't it? Because they're probably seeing, Instagram accounts of people who are just smashing it or looks like they're smashing it. And they go, oh God,
Yeah.
I'm still in residency and I haven't even got into residency yet. And these guys are flying in private jets and this and that. And it's like, okay, I need to have it now. But that's not normal for any age.
No, people are worried about the clouds. Fortunate, but
Mm.
I've, people don't know that I'm 2 years out of residency. And when they come shadow me at the office, it's like, so how old are you? Like 42. I was like, why do you assume I'm 42? Do you do 42? And they're like, no, but just because of the amount of experience you have and the level that you post on cases and stuff. I was like, that's a compliment, but to gauge that on what my age is like, this is not it. I'm just like 2 years
Yeah.
out of school, man. I'm just like trying to do better. But yeah, so
Yeah. Thank God. We're away off that yet. I didn't realize your brother was a dentist
No.
also, Zaid.
Zaid is a
Yeah, because I saw
periodontist.
Zaid Perio, and I was like, okay. Then I was like, okay, oh crap, he's
Yeah.
your brother, and I was like, wow. you know, all the times we've spoken, I hadn't realized that your brother was doing dentistry and is a perio as well.
He's he's a practicing periodontist here in
Mm.
Denver, and he's my younger brother. We're 2 years apart, and we have a good time. We get along very well. He's a totally different personality from I am. He's a very mellow, chill dude, not very, like extrovert. He's very like to himself, but he's a good guy. He's a good clinician, and I always give him crap. I was like, being a periodontist is like you're you're a glorified dental hygienist with an MSc
Yeah.
degree. That's what you are. And he doesn't take offense to that statement. He just shakes his head and just walk around. I was like, Zaid, I'm joking. It's fine. Yeah, I know you're a skilled periodontist.
He's there burning your steak when he hands it to you or something.
Yeah, it's like, get this to
Yeah.
cook.
Yeah, bro, tell me about you. I'm sometimes in awe of the food you guys are having. Where did you learn all this stuff?
Mm. On something
Make
to
yourself
make it
sound
look good.
great. Yeah, make yourself sound great.
Culinary school. No, I'm just kidding. We actually learned this from just you name it. TikTok, Instagram, all of these recipes are from there. I'm just watching people put some stuff and just throw the ingredients out there. I'm just following them and just do some food. And um, I live by myself, so I cook a
Mm.
lot. So that's just adding, and besides, like you're trying to watch what you eat and calories intake and stuff like that, because you can't have takeouts every night.
You have quite a lot
So
of wraps though.
um,
You know, I've seen that.
I do, I do, dude. That's like the best. What you cook a lot yourself, don't you?
I post every time I cook. It doesn't mean that I
Yeah.
cook a lot in between the postings. It's a little bit of
Okay. So
subterfuge and there's a bit of misdirection here. But when I do cook, I try and do it, you know, something a bit more than normal. I mean, my general meal, I mean, most of the time, what I eat is oven chicken and broccoli and sweet potato, stuff like that. That's about it. It's a bit boring, really. Steamed veg and grilled chicken. Uh,
yeah. How many times a week do you actually cook?
Twice maybe. I live at home, so don't forget. So there's other people
There's
cooking.
always
Yeah,
meal on the table.
yeah. So there's
Yeah.
other people cooking, or we get a lot of takeaways. A lot. I have a lot of grilled chicken takeaway. That's my cheat meal or cheat days, multiple days.
I try not to eat out during the week, so I cook. I want to say 4 days a week. So I cook 4 days a week. Friday, I usually go see my family, so they cook, and I usually just eat there. And on the weekend, I'm just like either hanging out with my friends or girlfriend or whatever, and just eat
Mm.
outside. So 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I usually eat out, which is what I'm going to be doing after this. But just cook. It's healthy. I work out, stuff like that. You got to keep it a balance because I love food, man.
It's a problem. It's,
It is a
we have an issue here. No, I get you because I'm someone who will, you know, if there's something that I like, I'll just keep eating it and I'll keep eating it. You know, so um I try not to have that stuff around too much. Like if I'm in the shop, I just try as hard as I can not to buy that thing because yeah, it might be just once in a while, but that once in a while it might be 3 bags of something and they're just gone like that. Um so yeah, it's a struggle, which is why I
I
still
feel
got
like
belly even with all the gym.
I feel like when I go grocery shopping, I'm like a horse. You know, with the horses, they have those leather pads next to their
Mm.
eyes to make them like just like look forward on the track. I feel I just have my list. I look through it. I don't look right and left, so I don't pick up anything that's like gonna be
Yeah.
bad, and just like go and pick up.
I think once a month I snap when I'm in the shop and I'm just like, okay, I'm getting the strawberry laces. I'm getting, oh, that chocolate looks good. Oh, that one will come in as well.
You gotta do it. You gotta do it.
Yeah.
All good.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I wanted to ask you about Gentle Wave. Have you got your hands on one yet?
Um, Not yet, but I am in the process of doing so. So I'm very I'm very close to the reps, to the CEO of the company. We talked multiple
Yeah.
times, and I think I'm gonna get one in the office soon. The only thing, and I don't want to it's 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 still a process. I work in a private practice endo,
Yeah.
with with another endodontist who's the owner, and we're in the process of potentially partnering. Okay, so once that partnership goes through and everything is settled, and I have a say in the decision making and become 50-50 partner, that will make that transition into the practice a lot
Smooth.
more
Yeah.
logical, because as an associate, it doesn't make sense for me to add a really expensive piece of equipment to the practice. Goes through, which I'm hoping very soon. Then yes, I am all about adding a unit to the practice, and then I'll tell you my clinical experience. But from my friends who've been using it, from people that I've seen their work and all of that, I can tell you it's a phenomenal addition to the endo specialty. I think it's great. I think in our working time, it's cleaning better. We're not opening those canals and prepping them to larger sizes. We're sticking to very conservative
Mm,
sizes, and we're not weakening. So that's the whole point of it. If I didn't find value in the addition of this equipment, I wouldn't be even
no,
interested
exactly.
into getting it. But I think it, because you're prepping those canals to a slimmer sizes. You're not, anytime you open the canal bigger, they become weak. The tooth becomes weak. So if you can avoid that and rely mainly on irrigation and achieve the same end outcome, fantastic. I think it's a revolutionary addition.
Yeah, I've seen some of the cases. There's one YouTube channel. The guy sits there, and he's videoed it, and he'll talk through the whole thing. I don't know if you saw that, seen
Yep.
that. It's so cool. I
Uh,
can't remember the guy's name.
Ryan Pace,
Yeah, yeah,
is it
yeah. I
Ryan
think
Pace?
so.
Yeah.
Really, he's got cool. He's got cool hair.
Yeah.
I wish my hair came out like that.
Ryan Pacer, it's pretty close, man. Ryan Pacer is actually Stephen Frost. Um, they're partners, and I had him on my podcast, and we talked all generally, but Ryan Pacer couldn't be there. But it was a fun episode. It's still on my page. We talked all general wave and stuff, and the addition of cost and addition procedure. He was very candid about it,
Mm,
and I think it was a very transparent episode. I think it was good because the machine is
yeah,
expensive, and the overhead per procedure is about $100. So it's not something that you're adding maybe $20 to your procedure as far as overhead. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it's a great addition to the specialty, and I think slowly you're gonna see more endodontists having this as the norm in their
yeah.
practice.
I mean, it makes sense if you can go from a 35 to I've seen people do 20s now. Much conservative.
15.
15s.
Oh yeah.
That would scare me. I would be like, okay, is that going too far? Are we gonna have some trouble with residual? But clearly not.
It shouldn't be scary if you actually see
Mm,
follow-ups. And when I see follow-ups of healing of huge lesions with 1502 or 1504 within 6 months that I wish I achieved in 1 year, that should be a good
indication.
turning point. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a tsunami of irrigation. I mean, you're delivering 25 times more irrigation towards the tooth with this machine versus what you do with ultrasonic activation.
That's yeah. It's night and day. It's like using a scope and not using a scope, or
Exactly.
maybe it's like not looking in the mouth and looking in the mouth when you're doing your exam. I don't know. Maybe that's too far.
Yeah,
I don't know.
a little bit extreme, but I see what you're going.
But yeah, it's a big one, and I've been very interested to know, how easy is it to do the platform, all these kinds of different things. 'Cause it's learning something new, isn't it? It's a completely different technique to what most general dentists will look at as endo.
Right. Everything new is going to take some
Mm.
backlash and people are resisting it. That's normal. I mean, I'm pretty sure the platform is a lot of people's like, oh, I got to do this. It's like, yeah, but if you get faster at it, you add so much time to your procedure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. I'm not about it.
yeah. No, I'm a geek like you, so I'm just interested. um,
No, I'm
Endo vibes. Where's that going? Just before we start to wrap things up, because I don't want to keep you too long. Um, you've done is it 4 seasons? 4 seasons now, haven't you?
I've done 3 seasons so far, 10
Mm.
episodes each. Endo vibes. I'm actually like one of my New Year resolutions is together season 4.
Yeah,
So it works. It's the topics that Endo are getting out of
been on the ground.
topics.
That's what I was
So
thinking. Are you changing track?
uh, probably not, but I I'm not sure if season 4 is going to be the last one. But I have another idea about another series that I'm going to be
Mm.
doing as far as live on Instagram, and it's going to be basically case presentation. So I don't want to shed too much light on it because I'm finalizing the idea, but it's basically also guest based. So I will be hosting somebody, and we're probably going to dissect a specific case,
All endos, is it?
and I'll be inviting. It's going to be endo. It's going to be collaboration between endo and other specialties, but it's endo related
Mm.
for sure. I'm not sure when I'm going to be launching that, but I'm definitely doing season 4
Yeah.
soon. So I'm going to be announcing that
Yeah,
on Instagram.
I was thinking to go back in because it's been a while since I've done some proper stuff like we did in summer. Where we had the auto transplantation case. We had Krina come on and do how to do a retreat. We had, loads of different things like that. I was thinking to do case of the month, or maybe a couple of, maybe once a week, and we'll have different people on. Probably similar to what you're thinking, but I don't know. I'm sure the way you'll do it be very different to how I would do it as someone who doesn't know a lot about anything, as opposed to you who knows quite a lot about endo.
Not necessarily, but it's mainly um, I want it to be a little bit more detailed because all my page is not about literature and stats. It's all about clinical
Mm.
involvement. So people think relate more. So what I want to do is a more detailed dissection of a case, not a pre-op and
Yeah,
post-op, like the entire process, just getting more details, more tips, all of those kind of things, walking through the case from
the
start to
thought
finish.
process.
I think it's
Mm.
so I think it's going to be good. I'm still just finalizing the format in my head, but I'm definitely going to be doing season 4 before that.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think that's definitely something I'll probably tune into some of those and endo vibes. Um, Interesting to see
You should
how
have, you should you should bring a case and we'll
I'll
dissect
have
it.
to do some treatment again then. I'm still sat
Hey,
I'm still sat at home doing nothing. Um,
show, show old cases, man. It doesn't have to be glamorous. It's about the conversation that's going to shed some light on the treatment. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is too straightforward." Not really, but the conversation that drives it really can put up some value to other
mm.
people.
Yeah, we can call my episode Endo Fails.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
so.
I definitely want to get back into it. I left the NHS job I was in, or the National Health job, in September, and probably when things start to calm down, because we're in, the worst part of any peak ever. I'll start to look at doing something again.
You got it, man. You
Yeah.
got it. I'm excited for it.
No, this has been fun, man. I think we'll probably start to wrap things up there. Let's leave you with a couple of questions. New Year's resolutions first, and then have a little think about this one. If you had your own podcast, which was just about you and the things that you're interested in, who would the guests be? So pick out 3 guests, and it doesn't have to be a dental podcast. This could be Ahmed is interested in just a whole random 3-4 different things or whatever. Who those guys are going to be?
Ooh, that's interesting. So dental related.
Yeah, it's like your podcast. The same way that this is my podcast, and as some people have probably found out, I don't talk about teeth all the time. I know today we talked quite a fair bit about endo and stuff like this. There's some podcasts where I've just talked. There's a guy I brought on, and we talked about football for 2 hours, and that probably bored people to death. But we enjoyed it, so we carried on. We did it. We went for it.
That's okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So okay, I'll tell you my top 3 speakers that I will invite on my podcast. So it has to be sports related. It has to be dental related. That's the second
Yep.
speaker. And the third one, I am huge cars. So those are probably going to be my 3 interests. Okay. So if I invite somebody that's dental related, who I look up to their work, and somebody I admire a lot in dental world, and more specifically in endo world, it's going to be Domenico Ricucci. I don't know if you've heard of this guy. He's Italian. He's a phenomenal endodontist. He has an endo, and he's a full-time private practice. So all his cases and literature are mainly from his own work. And I think I look up to him, and I try to kind of imitate him a lot. So Domenico Ricucci will be my first guest as far as the world. I will definitely host this person, and that's going to sound weird because I'm a huge soccer and basketball fan. But sports person that I'm going to invite, who I really look up to, will be Roger Federer. Okay. Roger Federer is an example of a sportsmanship. That'll be my second one. I'm a huge fan of him.
It's not just because you have similar jawlines or anything.
I don't know, dude. No, I wish. But Roger Federer will be there. Third one that's car related. Even though I'm not a big fan of his cars, but I like his vision, will be Elon Musk.
See, I am a big fan of his cars.
Elon Musk. I'm not a big fan of his cars. I'm more into horsepower and sports cars and stuff like that. But I like his vision on the car industry. So that will be my
third one.
There you go.
I had an inkling when you said cars that Musk was going to be the guy, because I think this last 2020 was probably Elon's Musk's year, and probably this year as well. He was kind of like the guy that just made things happen in a way that just you couldn't believe. It's like nothing had happened.
You can't ignore this guy. You can't. This is just it's a Musk conversation. He's revolutionary.
Yeah, and he's kind of weird as well in a good way. I don't know if you've seen his Twitter.
And I'm all about. A lot of people tell me, it was like, oh, this guy, but he's a little bit cocky. I was like, I don't mind being cocky if you can back it up.
Yeah.
I don't mind being weird if you can back it up. I mean, there's always going to be something special about those personalities. They're not going to be perfect. I'm all about for that.
Did you see the video? It went out recently about when they did the IPO back in 2014 or 2012. And
I think so.
I think it's the one where he goes, "Oh yeah, by 2020 we'll do 500,000 cars," and then it cuts to some guy in the studio and he goes, "Well, that's a good joke," and they're just ripping him, and then someone's done a montage, and it's 499,000 cars in 2020 or whatever it was, and yeah.
Those are people. Yeah, I would love to have on. So people look up to.
Yeah, no, I think good picks, and Federer's an interesting one. He's obviously been the most successful tennis player of all time, and some of the matches he was playing with Nadal and Murray when he was when he had a knee, and all these other the guys who were really smashing around those. I think that's probably the best ever era of tennis.
Not only that, man. Have you seen Have you seen a person or like a tennis player this good with this personality and composure? And at the same time, have you seen his one hand backhand? He's one of the few players who can do
Yeah.
it well. It's ridiculous. So I don't know.
And he's
He's
still
just
smashing it, and he's got like great grandkids now as well. Stuff, it's beyond belief. Yeah,
absolutely. Man. I love that
yeah.
guy.
And your 2021 New Year's resolutions. If you hit us with those, seeing as you're one of the first guys we had on this year.
Let me see. Kind of actually talked about it a little bit. Um, Professionally, I want to finalize ownership. I want to have ownership in my own
Yeah.
professional life. What deal goes through, or whether I open my own practice. That's going to happen 2021. It doesn't matter. The solutions. I want to be more financially literate. What does that mean? I want to use my money in a smart way that can just set up a better future. That has been something that I lack. I'm not very smart
Mm.
financially. I don't think I spend my money wisely. So that's one goal of mine is to be more financially literate. At least start the process. That was going to be my second one. My third one is part of self care. Focus on myself. I've been focusing on career for the past 2 years. I want to just like focus on myself, my personal life, and have more time to myself versus others. And that's part of it away from practice, away from friends and family, and just kind of like do something meaningful in my own personal life. So those are really my three New Year's resolution for this year.
You're supposed to do 3 because I've seen some people do like 10.
Oh, dude,
Don't I don't have 10. Don't
those
worry.
are my. I don't have 10 either.
Don't.
I don't have 10 either, but those are the ones that I vouched to myself that I'm gonna be doing this year.
Yeah,
So
fair enough. I think it's important to have some sort of goals. I don't really know what mine are. Mine are more themes as opposed to, more. I suppose your financial literacy one was more of a theme, but my goals are more like take my video making up to another level. Stop shaking my
yep.
hands when I'm videoing. That was a really annoying one. This last week, I've really been beating myself up over that. I took a video for a friend, for a client, and when I got the footage back, it was a little bit too shaky, and I had to add in a lot of After Effects to cut down into the frame. So that was one thing. So I want to get my videos up to that next level. So um, I'd probably just call myself a budding filmmaker. I think that's the technical term for what I'm trying to do. Um, then yeah, stuff with the podcast to take that onto the next level as well. And get fit. That's probably the 3. If I had,
You're doing it up.
I don't know, man. You haven't seen my belly. I've been set down.
You're just pumping those irons,
Yeah,
man.
I probably need to go in. It's probably a bit late to go in now. It's 11:30 over here, but tomorrow morning I think, or afternoon, I'll be in there smashing the iron again.
So good, my man. So good.
Awesome, bro. This has been a really, really good, interesting episode. For the guys who've just joined us, this is Dr. Ahmed bin Salman. This is episode number 43. It's been really fun having you on, man.
Man, it's my pleasure. It's always fun when we're chatting and shooting stuff
Yeah.
together. We should do it again. We should have you on the Endo Vibes or my case seminars and just dissect you to pieces. Just literally rip those cases apart.
I'm up for it. I'll have to, get some sort of case together that is I'll be selecting it very carefully.
This will be taking like 3 months of you deciding when to do it because you gotta select the case.
Well, I will have to get back
No, man,
into
it'll be
work
fun.
first. That's the first step for me, and then I'm sure the cases will come because my next job that I'm looking for, I'm gonna look for a job that will have me where I can just do endos. So even though I'm not a specialist right now, I'll be doing some further training, and I don't want to be booking in kids checkups and stuff like that. I want to be furthering the
Oh,
career. Uh, No,
after
I'm up for it.
7 p.m.
Guys, check out Dr. Ahmed's page. It's abs.endo on Instagram. Can we find you anywhere else?
This will take you to my Facebook page, but that's about it.
Yeah, okay. So check that out. It's on screen so you can see what it looks like. I'm sure you're already following him anyway. The guy's got, all the dentists covered already. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like the video, comment down below. Let me know what you thought of all the topics we spoke about today. Let me know if there's any topics you want to hear from myself or from Ahmed in the future. And check out the Patreon group if you want to help out running the channel. It's been how I've been able to upgrade the audio and the video and the way things look. Helps me out, and I very much appreciate the guys who've done that so far. Make sure to hit me up on Instagram as well if you've got questions. We will be back soon with more episodes. Next week, we're going to be talking to a dental accountant from Heath Hill Green. We had Bilal on a couple of weeks ago. There have been some recurring questions that kept on coming up, so we're going to go back through some of the information that we spoke about last time and see if we can take things on to the next level as well. Thank you everyone for joining us, and I will see you guys later.